Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Ryan Avery. I'm a product marketing manager from Deep Silver. I'm really excited to show you guys Mighty Number 9. Here today with me is the wonderful.
Will Powers, and I'm back again and showing off Mighty Number 9. So this game's actually coming out next week, right, Ryan?
That's right.
And I don't think we've actually showed off this level before, so I'm going to mess around with it a little bit while we talk about it and die. Because it's really hard to talk and play this game. This game's
very
not
demanding.
easy.
Yeah, it's not the easiest game out there. It's definitely going to require you to really be focused on getting through that level without taking a lot of damage here.
So, yeah, so what
what's
we're
going
doing
on?
here is, I mean, we're basically showing off kind of the core mechanic of the game. It's not like previous Inafune titles where you just shoot enemies until they die and disappear. What you want to do is you want to shoot them until they change color, basically, and then you absorb them. The whole kind of thought process behind that is it's a plot point of the entire world's been affected by this virus, and it's affected all the robots in the world. And Beck, who you play as here, Mighty Number 9, is the only person that's not affected, and he's the only person that can actually heal these robots. So it's not a mission of killing all the enemy robots like you do in previous Inafune games. This is actually a mission of helping them, which is a cool little distinction and plot point.
Right. I'm seeing you playing extremely aggressive here. You're moving through this level very quickly. You obviously had a lot of time in it. I know we both have played it a lot back and forth and doing some time attack. Tell us how moving through the level is critical for success here.
Yeah, well, there are multiple reasons why it's critical for success, and there's multiple ways that you can actually do that to optimize kind of and min-max your time factor. I'm doing kind of a boost jump here, which is what you do if you boost and then jump immediately after. I'll show it off. So boost jump, it kind of flings your character forward right there. But why it's important to kind of min-max is there are multiple criteria that you're judged on after you complete a level, and speed is one of those. There, a couple of the other ones are how much damage you've taken, how many combos you get, and combos are awarded based off of how many 100% absorptions you get in a row. So what we're seeing here is something that's kind of cool. This is that was a section you saw Bat, one of the other Mighty Numbers, helping me out there. Like I said, when you hit an enemy or when you absorb an enemy, you don't kill them, you heal them. That's what happened previously when I fought against Bat. I healed him, and he's now helping me out in this level.
So normally, when you're encountering that scenario with all those drills coming by, that's quite a difficult section for you to work on the timing and get through. But because you had, I guess, rescued him, and he's now helping you in this level, it kind of aids you here, not only just by utilizing his power. I saw you using his power to blow up some of the boxes.
Correct. His ability actually is going to help me a lot right here to clear this area very, very quickly, because there's drills chasing me, and this area is one of the hardest parts of the game. So I'm going to try to... There we go. I got a sprinter bonus on that, and Bat's actually going to help me out right there, too, by stopping the drill to make it real easy for me moving forward. But that's kind of the cool thing, that one of the differences, and that makes Mighty Number 9 special, is that you're actually aiding your brothers, because the other boss robots that you're fighting against are your brothers. You're this team called the Mighty Numbers, this team of fighting robots that's fighting in this this tournament called the Battle Coliseum. And then when they get affected by this robot virus, you actually have to use your abilities to save them and get them back on your team. That's kind of the underlying plot of the whole game.
And prior to this outbreak of this virus, how did Mighty Number 9, how did Beck rank up against the others?
Beck is the weakest of all the Mighty Numbers, but he's strong in heart, which is very important. And this is actually a very tough section. I got hit a little bit. But I'm trying to focus in on him. And this is actually an example of how boss fights work and how they're a little bit different. Is you see, you chunk his health. He has a main health bar there, and you actually you break it apart in various chunks. Oh god. There we go.
Yeah, watch out for those drills.
Yeah, you break it down in different chunks until he starts flashing, and then you absorb damage in phases.
And even when you're absorbing him, I saw 100% pop up there. How do you obtain that 100%? And how do you not die here?
Very carefully. That was me utilizing my unlimited dashes, which is very, very, very integral in these boss fights of staying
Probably
above
airborne.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
staying above him when he does these attacks that literally murder me. I got one hit left.
He's
to
almost
try
there
to,
too.
To try to take him out, and hopefully I'll be able to do so without dying. It's gonna be really close here. Come on.
A lot of
There
people
we
watching.
go.
There
All
we
right. Whew, that's one of the tougher boss fights because I didn't want to use his weakness. I wanted to show that it's really important to know that you can beat all the bosses using vanilla back using his normal ability. You don't need to use the weaknesses. Obviously, they make the boss fights infinitely easier if you're using the one that has a weakness. But you see here, there are different points on your scorecard at the end of every round. And I didn't do a clear time because we were leaving the game idle at the beginning, so didn't get any points for that. My damage was lacking a little bit. I took too much damage. I didn't kill all the enemies because there's a lot of the drills coming through there. And my combos could have done better, but my absorption rate was pretty good. So it ended up giving me a B total. And that's one good thing. It adds a lot of replayability. There are leaderboards, and there's that kind of drive to get S ranks on all the maps. That's really, really, really powerful.
And even past that S rank, you want to try to get the best score possible. I know we've gone back and forth many times trying to find a way to get the best score possible.
There's a lot of fine-tuning, and then once you unlock more abilities and more weapon abilities from different mighty numbers that you absorb their powers, you're able to even min-max that score further.
That's awesome.
But cool. We're gonna swap over here and switch over to another Deep Silver game coming up. And I'm going to sub out, and Lee Mather, who's from Codemasters, is gonna join us for F1.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Perfect.
Stay tuned, guys. Hey everyone, thank you so much for staying tuned with us. We are back here now. Thank you to Will, who just showed us Mighty Number 9, but we're also really excited to show you F1 2016. I'm joined here by Lee Mather. Lee, would you mind introducing yourself to the fine folks out there?
Yeah, I'm Lee Mather, and I'm the principal game designer on F1 2016.
Awesome. Well, this is actually like a first look for a lot of people. This is the first time we're showing off gameplay for F1 2016. A lot of people were looking forward to seeing how much this game has improved. Can you tell us what kind of things we're going to expect here?
Yes, I mean, I think the big thing that we're speaking about this year at E3 is the return of the career mode. I mean, obviously people have called out for the career to be the new thing that we're bringing this year.
Right.
And we wanted to bring it back in a new and more impressive fashion, you know, a really rich, deep, immersive gameplay, you know, and include some of the glamour of Formula One as well. So, yeah, so we've got the paddock environments, we've got the characters in there with the race engineer, the agent, you know, to lead you through that career, to give it more depth.
Right. I know I had some time on the build myself, and it definitely seems like a very authentic experience to what you see on the TV, and it sounds like that was the priority for you guys.
Oh, very much so, but as well as sort of the major things as well, the attention to detail really goes a long way with the fans. So just things like the pit boards hanging over the side, or the wheel tethers when you have an accident. You know, the damage on the car is quite a big thing for people. They really want to see that authentic damage.
Well, I think right now what we really want to see is you out on the track, showing us how it's done. Try to concentrate here. I'm not going to distract you too much as you go around the track and see if we can get a really good time.
Okay, so what I'll do is as well, I'll showcase one of the other new cool features in the game, which is the time of day.
Yeah.
So the ability to now play different times of the day. So outside of the career, you can have those beautiful vistas, the sunsets, the sunrises, you know, and the shadows being cast. So yeah, I'm going to go into a bit of time trial with a nice low sun in the sky.
So here we are in Canada.
Yeah,
pretty
and
current.
I've picked the Haas, so new team for the season.
Right.
You know, it's great to always have a new car on the grid. and particularly good for America to have a new team on grid.
We can experience all the latest new things in F1 being displayed here in Formula 1 2016 when it comes out. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's
all
correct.
the current teams.
Yeah. So as always, we've fully authentic licensed Formula 1 experience. All the teams, all 21 circuits, including the new Baku circuit, which is obviously something which we've shown today for the very first time in our announcement of the release date. So I think people have seen that is an absolutely spectacular circuit, and it's by far the largest one we've ever constructed for the game. But sort of looking at the time trial that's going on ahead of us here, you can see as well the absolutely glorious new visuals we've got in 2016. Last year was the first time with the new engine, and this year we've really got to grips with things, so it's something looking really absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, this doesn't look like the official race time here. We're running this track at sunset, it looks like.
Yeah,
that's
correct.
Amazing.
Yeah, so during your career, obviously you'll run each session at the authentic time, but outside of career, you'll be able to adjust that time. So something that's quite unique this year is that you can run Singapore in daylight, which is something we've never been able to do before.
That's going to change the way you approach that circuit.
It's almost like an entirely new circuit.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see also here from the gameplay that we've got a new element in the bottom right-hand corner to assist the player with understanding when the DRS is available. There's a lot of people who found it hard to understand DRS. There's so many intricate elements in the world of Formula 1 that we wanted to try and make those clearer to the players so that everybody can enjoy them.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that's in here, a lot of detail. How do you feel F1 2016 kind of fits within the racing genre? Would you say it's closer to a sim experience or maybe an arcade?
I mean, we obviously simulate everything very, very accurately, or as accurately as we possibly can. I think that's important because Formula 1 has very defined lap times. It's a real-world sport. It exists out there, so people want to see that authenticity. But we also work really hard to make sure that anybody can play the game. I mean, I think that's something we've seen from the last few days. People who aren't necessarily big racing game players but enjoy the sport of Formula 1 have been able to pick the game up and play it really well. I mean, I'm sat here chatting away to you, and yeah, I've got some of the assists on, which I don't normally do. But I'm happily getting this car around the track, and that's something we've seen from gamers of all levels over the last 3 days.
Okay, well, I play with all the assists on, and I don't find any shame in that. I need a lot of help, so.
But you've also improved quite dramatically over the last 3 days as well. Your lap time's dropped substantially.
So when capturing that sim experience, what kind of things did you guys do in development that's a little bit different from what you've done before?
Well, we've got a guy on the team who he used to race single-seaters, so his knowledge is absolutely immense. He's got a sim background as well, so he's helped with the force feedback systems, the suspension in the cars, the tyre model, all those things. It's what makes Formula 1 special. It's a very unique sport. And without the likes of the guys on the handling team, we wouldn't have a game that felt like this. And again, last year, 2015, the handling was universally well received, and this is another step forward. It's something that people who've played it this week have really commented on being, again, even better than last year.
I noticed when I was playing earlier myself, I was on the Circuits of the America, and that's some pretty aggressive curbs on there, and I had a tire that hit it, and it definitely kicked back on my wheel. So I've noticed that you guys really took extra care in getting that experience with the force feedback and nailing that down exactly how it would really happen in real life.
Yeah, because I mean, something else we've worked on this year is the off-track elements. We've looked at the way we model the curbs. We look at the aggression of the rumble strips and the sausage curves. I mean, I'll hit one here for an example if I can. Oh, I missed it. Oh, there you go, a little skip off there. We've worked on making those more authentic so that they do upset the car and they do disrupt your lap. So you can ride the curbs, but you just need to be a little more gentle with them. You can't take the liberties that you maybe could have done, in previous titles. Because I mean, during a race, the last thing you want is to have an incident, and I'm going to go into the safety car, obviously.
Right.
This year, the second most requested feature for the series. We've got the safety car back. It's an entirely new system, built from the ground up, not built on any of the previous safety cars we had. But beyond that, we've got the virtual safety car as well, which is, again, mirroring exactly what people see within the sport. They're both quite interesting mechanics. The safety car completely mixes up the race. It's a really exciting thing to have in the game.
And just like the career mode, when you guys brought this in here, you wanted to make sure that it was as authentic as possible. So from my understanding, that safety car is the actual car. It's built out. It has the exact same specs,
Yeah, exactly.
wheelbase, engine.
Yeah, we've got a little virtual safety car driver who drives around in a genuine Mercedes. You know, it's the actual physical setup for that car. So this lap time's not looking too bad. It's not quite as good as I ran earlier on while trying to knock you off the top. Still pretty handy, I think.
After you finish this track, let's see if maybe we can take a look at another one. Maybe look at a different time of day too. It's really quick to swap out here.
I think what would be really cool would actually be to see a track in the wet, a sunrise. I think that would be pretty special. So we'll move to.
Oh, I don't want you to wipe out, not in front of all these people.
I'll take that risk. I'll take that risk. Yeah, I mean, talking sort of about the authenticity and that immersion. We wanted to really give the glamour and the spectacle of Formula One as well, which is why we created the paddock environments this time round. So, I mean, some of the really cool things is we actually got a lot of the team bosses to actually allow us to photograph them so that we could model them as well, so they're characters within the environment. And these are all things that, bring the realism and the glamour of Formula One to the player.
Right. You'll see a lot of familiar faces when this one comes out.
Yeah, I mean, as the game was going through development, we knew who was coming, but the art guys didn't tell us when they were dropping.
Right.
So we'd be playing the game and it'd be like, oh, look who's just walked in through that door. It's like, how cool is that? I think that's the kind of the way I expect people will react when they see it as well. In the same way that we did. We were really excited to see that. Okay, so I mean, instantly you can see now that we're at Brazil, and you can obviously see the huge increase in the visual quality of the wet weather this year. And you can see in the distance there, the sun's just starting to come up. It's just poking through, so there's that slightly warm glow. You can also see the huge reduction in grip now. We're going to be seeing lap times very, very realistic. Very similar to real life. So running Spa, for example, on the wet tyres, it'd be a 20-second a lap slower than when running the slick tyre, for example. You can also see as well, the new rain effects on the screen,
I love how
racing line appearing.
Those water drops coming down, especially on the turns. You can see them peeling off on the other side.
Yeah, and then during the race, the particle effects with the spray for the other teams, the other drivers around you, they look absolutely amazing. It's really immersive.
Makes it very difficult to see, though.
It's a tough challenge. I think with the assists on, I'm getting around perfectly easily here around a very, very wet Brazil. I think that's part of the challenge of F1. Is challenging yourself. You can play it at this level, and then you can, if you find it a little easier, turn some of the assists off and challenge yourself to learn how to play the game that way. There's so much depth in the actual on-track experience before you even, look at all of the stuff we've got in the career this year. With the contract moves, the R&D, building the car up, the rivalries that will formulate between you and other drivers on the track. There's all these cool things that keep you coming back for more. And it's like, practice sessions are a huge part of the sport. So we've tried to fill those again with really, rich, cool gameplay that gets the player wanting to, just play a practice session and come away from a practice session really feeling like they've achieved something and really progressed their career. It's all about giving the what you see in real life and representing it, with really cool, meaningful gameplay in the game. I'm still doing pretty well around Brazil as well.
Yeah, I'm actually very impressed. Everyone's watching. Everyone's impressed. But what if we take away one of those driving racing lines there? He's still going to be able to handle it?
I can take away the racing line.
Yeah?
Right, let's do it.
Okay, so going back to the career mode, that discussion, what kind of elements can we see in that? You mentioned like the practice race week and everything that's involved leading up to the actual race itself. How much of that are we going to be able to see? Yeah,
so what we really wanted to do was give the practice sessions a lot of structure, give the players something to do, give them something really interesting and exciting, that not only is fun gameplay and something that you'll enjoy doing, but it feeds directly into the career. So if you go out and you do the track acclimatization program, which is essentially a great way to teach players how to race a circuit, that also feeds into what they receive for their R&D points from the team. But of course, if you're not researching and developing components, your team's going to start slipping back down the order. So, you may have chosen to start your career driving for Mercedes. You know you're going to be the dominant car, but if you don't work on the upgrades, they could lose their position at the top of the tree, and you start to struggle. And that's where the characters come into the game. The researcher, the R&D guy will speak to you about your lack of input and that you need to start pulling your weight. You'll get contract problems, and so you'll get the agent speaking to you about the team aren't happy with your performance and they expect you to do more. And ultimately you could lose your drive for that team and end up looking for a drive with another team on the grid, and then having to work your way back up to join one of the faster teams. Or alternatively, work on developing the car and bring that car to the top of the grid.
So that sounds like a lot of work, and it's definitely going to take a long time for you to progress from the very, very bottom and reach to the top. How long are we looking at a career mode?
Yes, I mean, very much depending on how you choose to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can play for as many as 10 seasons. So you may find that you want to take a team from the bottom to the top, which is obviously going to take some time. Alternatively, if you start strong at the top and you lose your position, it may take a few seasons to actually be able to formulate a contract move to get you back into a top team or to develop the team you're in. So, we want the player to not just think about the on track, not just think about it on a race by race basis, but look at the big picture. There's a lot more that goes on in the world of Formula One.
One of those elements that definitely go into the sport is rivalries.
Yeah.
I imagine that's something that you're going to encounter as you're there out on the practice week. Within your team, I imagine, maybe outside the team. Is that something we can look forward to?
Yeah, so something which we've done this year is when you start your first race of the season, you've signed with a team and you've got a teammate. That's always your first rival. The most important person to beat is your teammate. So the agent will come and explain that to you, and she'll let you know what objectives you have for the coming session. She's always setting you goals and targets that are very important for both your career and the team itself. And then, as that rivalry progresses and as the season progresses, natural rivalries form as well. So it may be that you've had a bit of a battle with a particular driver on circuit, and it's been noticed that you've been racing closely together. The point system, in the points you're quite close as well. And your agent will speak to you about this, and she'll call it out, saying, the press have noticed that you've got a bit of a battle going with Fernando Alonso, and you've got a natural rivalry form, and you're given a period of time to try and beat Fernando. So you need to take those points and prove that you are the stronger driver.
Do you mind doing me a favor here? Could you switch your camera so we can see just how, maybe in the far chase, so we can see water kicking up there? Yeah, it's actually a really cool looking effect. I noticed actually earlier, because I can never quite stay on the track myself. I find myself sliding around in the grass and then coming back onto the track, pulling mud and things like that on.
Yeah.
Is that like the level of detail you guys are trying to achieve here with each track?
I think it's one of those things, that's what you expect to happen in real life, and that's what you expect to happen when you do it in the game as well. So, if you go off the circuit, you do pick up the debris on your tyre, but you also pull it back onto the circuit. And then obviously over time that'll be worn away by other cars driving over it, or if the weather changes, that'll wash away any of the extra grip or any of the debris that you've pulled onto the circuit. So I'm still playing this with no assists on other than the automatic gearbox now.
I'm seeing your personal best pull away from you though.
Yeah, I'm concentrating way too heavily on keeping the car on the track now. Yeah, it's super awesome in the wet this year. So you really do get the feeling of that reduction in grip and the balance in the car. As you can see, they just slide in it gently.
Well, I think we're actually going to be running up on the end of our time here. I just wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you to Square Enix for hosting us here, letting us come in and show you guys both Mighty Number 9 and F1 2016. I want to thank you, Lee, for joining us today, showing us the game. Did a great job. Could you tell us when can we expect F1 2016 to be coming out?
Yeah, so we've announced the release date today, and it's August the 19th.
August 19th.
Yeah.
On what platform?
PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC.
That's brilliant. Looking very much forward to it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Please stay tuned. There's a lot of really exciting things coming to Square Enix Presents. Thank you.